Hi, and welcome back to a podcast above a convenience store talking Twin Peaks. I'm Joe Fremming from the Joe Down. With me, as always, is Paul Muad'Dib. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
If you get that, then you'll know we're talking about Twin Peaks: The Return, Part 3, Call for Help. And oh boy, is this an interesting episode. What are your initial thoughts on this, Paul? Because I definitely have some.
I have some as well. I love this episode. There is so much symbolism and metaphors happening and just general Lynchian weirdness that I was so excited because I knew this one was coming. Man, I haven't seen it for a long time, but remembered that there was this episode that was like this, and this is the one where I started to feel like now we're getting into the Twin Peaksy stuff.
Yeah, we're also getting into the spiritual cousin of Eraserhead.
Holy shit. Yeah, we are.
This is probably the most Eraserhead Lynch has ever gotten since Eraserhead.
Yes.
And he saved it for Twin Peaks, the much anticipated return of his most commercially successful project.
Yes, there's a lot of callbacks to Eraserhead in this, which I adored.
Yes. So let's get into this, Paul, because it pretty much picks up right when the last episode ended. Cooper is falling through space after the lodges are going through chaos because of Bob's fuckery.
Yep.
Yep. And he ends up falling into some weird purple smoke blob.
Yep.
This is going to be really weird to describe because it feels like we're describing an acid trip.
It's very much. But yeah, picture it like it's a purple blob. Picture it like a purple ocean where he's in this floating space on what looks like to be kind of a balcony. And, you got this ocean, but it's in the universe. So it's like a purple nebula of some sort or space gas.
Yeah, this is a weird. I don't know what to really call this. This seems like because this is not the Black Lodge or the White Lodge anymore. This is almost like maybe like a purgatory-ish place, or
I think this is where Chet Desmond went to. I think this is where Wyndham Earl ended up. Or he wasn't fucking destroyed by Bob, which he was, but this is where you go when you go, and I'm sorry, Philip Jeffries, because we will get into that when it happens. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but Jeffries we'll find out, is in this area as well. I think this is where you go.
Yeah, and it's weird. This building is like an industrial building, and again, this is like purplish hue version of Eraserhead. Like Eraserhead had a very industrial, like Pittsburghian, like place, and this seems like where Cooper is amongst this giant purple ocean.
Yes.
Man, that purple kush, man. Oh. I guess it sounds like I'm at a fucking Fish concert.
Pretty much.
But he's on this balcony. He finds this window, which he goes through, and we meet Nato.
We meet Nato for the first time.
Nato as a woman, her eyes there's like patches of skin over her eyes that are sewn. Again, this feels such a Eraserhead to me.
Very much, and the movements that are going on between them.
And if you haven't noticed, Nato, there is a hint in her name alone.
There is a hint in her name alone, and we'll leave that where that is for now, because everyone was lost when they went through this. No one knew.
Even though it's so obvious, like, oh.
Right. Yes.
But so there's a fireplace. Nato is there, and it's like everything's like really super glitchy, and
I love it.
Yeah.
He reuses the same shot. Like there's the one where it's Cooper facing at Cooper, and his head's moving towards Nadia and back to the door, and he reuses this shot over and over when there's the pounding on the door, and it comes off as, like, amateurish, but it would, but the way he does it, it makes it really anxiety ridden.
Yeah, he sets up anxiety really well. David Lynch does. That pounding, because it's just incessant. It's just not stopping, and it's freaking NATO out, and we don't know what's going on. And Cooper looks worried too. It really amps it up. It's just the way he films it and then edits it together. He just does something that would probably not work for other filmmakers. David Lynch finds a way to make it work for himself.
Yeah, he is a drummer of his own beat, and by God, he makes it work.
Yeah, so
he's like that guy who, like, you look at that shirt in the mall and you go, who the fuck could ever wear that shirt? And then the one guy comes in, you go, yeah, that asshole. And he makes it work.
And like the anxiety is ratcheting up because we're just like, okay, we've never seen this before. And NATO keeps trying to shush him, quiet it down.
Yep, she keeps shushing him, and they keep kind of going back and forth in time.
Yeah, and then Cooper sees this is going to be the technical term, doodad on the wall. Yeah. Has a number 15 on it. Mm-hmm. It's in the exact same font as the 6 that's on the telephone pole from Fire Walk with Me. This is what I'm imagining either are timelines or portals.
I'm thinking it's portals.
I am too. Because NATO does not want him to go get near the number 15.
Nope.
Number 15, just kind of jump ahead. I don't know where it goes, but I think it's somewhere. She obviously doesn't want him to go into it. I think it might be something to either to Mr. C or something else.
See, now this is what I'm okay. So I actually did a little bit of research before this episode because I was catching numerology, and it's been a long time, probably since middle school when we were in South, that I really fucked around with numerology. It's been a long time. And the thing is that when you look, there's a couple of things going on with the 15. But in the world of numerology, it is a higher number. And it's really interesting because the 3 is also an important number. It's what they consider the first truly odd number, not 1, but 3, because it's the one that has the beginning, middle, and end, where 15 is a higher number, but it doesn't have any, it's kind of the number for all. So while the 15 isn't nearly as powerful as the 3, it doesn't mean it's without religious meaning and being towards like a godly number. Yep. Okay. Yes, I just took you on a ride of numerology right there, buddy.
Yeah, well, what do you think where do you think that portal would have led then?
I think that portal would have led to the doppelganger, to Mr. C, but not in the way that he was supposed to. I think it would have gone in the wrong way, and Cooper would have been susceptible to him.
Yeah, or something. We don't know. Mm-hmm. There's like so many things that they could lead them. Another timeline it could have led them to, for all I know, given this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we know the 6. We know where the 3 goes. But I think this is one of those mysteries of 15 is a powerful number. We can assume it goes to the Mr. C, but it could have gone to Jade. That might have been where Philip ended up.
Yeah, or it could be right to Jeffries himself, which I think at this point Cooper should not be heading towards Philip Jeffries, considering the doppelgangers, that's where he's heading to.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, the 3 represents. I know the 3 represents Cooper and kind of his thought, and kind of the number 3 being everything, or being an all-encompassing number, and 15 is a higher number. But yeah, it's fucked up.
We also have 3 Coopers in this episode too.
We do have 3 Coopers in this episode as well.
But
And when it comes back to the 3 and the 1-5, that also has another meaning in it as well.
yes. So what happens next is NATO leads Cooper to a ladder.
A ladder?
Something. It's just something.
Okay. The best visual representation I can give on how this looks is that Smashing Pumpkins video for Tonight. That is, like, if you're wondering how, like, what we're trying to explain to you, picture people moving in that style.
Yeah. Where they climb up and through a door and they are in outer space and there's a giant bell-looking thing. We'll see this, something similar to this, at least 2 more times from my memory.
Yep.
So this has significance. So what? Yeah. So NATO, she's walking around and she pulls a switch, and she's launched into space.
She's launched the fuck off.
We know where she ends up, though.
Yes, we do.
But that's another one. Like,
that's a whole
12
other
episodes
part.
from now.
Yeah, that's like 12, 13 episodes from now. Yep.
And then we get one of the most blatant references to Eraserhead is Briggs's head floating by, and it says Blue Rose. This is yeah. There's that scene in Eraserhead where Henry's head floats through space a lot like this scene. That's why
yes.
Yeah, this is the Eraserhead episode. Like this whole return feels like it's a culmination of everything Lynch has done.
I really think this is his swan song. I don't think he's going to do another real movie. I don't think or a giant project like this. I just don't think we're going to see it.
No, I don't. He's so up there in age, and I think he's happier just doing small, like, short films and his paintings and his
YouTube channel.
his weather channel.
His weather channel. I think he loves the shit out of that. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Joe.
Yeah. And so then Cooper comes back down. The doodad now says number 3 on it.
And things have settled down. It's no
things
longer
have settled
crazy.
Down. And somebody who is credited as American Girl, it's none other than Ronette Pulaski.
Ronette Pulaski. Yeah, it's Ronette Pulaski.
Yeah. She's credited as American Girl, so it's either her soul or whatever. It's just unmistakable. It's the same actress.
Yeah, I think it's more, if I may, shows that even though she was never in the lodge and wasn't connected, because she was there when when people get involved with anything with the lodge, we talked about this in Secret History, you get fucked up.
And you're kind of, and yeah, everybody was.
Yeah, so I think it is her, but she's all fucked up because of the lodge.
And I do love she has a digital watch in this.
I know.
I think I caught it, but you probably did. Does it say 253? It
says 253.
Yes. Again, back with the numbers. What do they all mean? I think this is Lynch fucking with us a little bit because before he started, before this aired, he was like, "Look at the donut, not the hole." But he's giving us all these red herrings to donut holes.
Well, and the thing is that
Or was 2:53 a.m. when?
And 253 is actually the area code for the area of Washington that Twin Peaks supposedly takes place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the area. Yeah, 253 is the area code in Snoqualmie, Washington. Yep.
And so we get he's drawn to the doodad. Then we just get a quick glimpse at Mr. C driving his sweet ride. he's getting all discombobulated because he's supposed to go back to the fucking lodge.
And yes, and he is getting fucked up, and he's driving that car very erratically.
And then it goes back, and Cooper tries to touch the doodad, and he gets kind of like a little shock. And then the American Girl says, "When you get there, you will already be there." And then he you better hurry. And he starts getting kind of sucked into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she also says, my mother's coming, which I think is Judy.
I think that's Judy as well. Yep, you and I are in agreement with that. That's Judy coming to fuck him up.
I think Judy exists. I mean, we brought it up already, I think. Judy exists in Sarah Palmer. I think unlike Bob, she can come and go as well.
She can, yeah, and she
was just there because Laura was the one.
Yep.
So it shocks him. He gets this goofy look on his face, and this is the look on Cooper until episode 17. So everybody strap in.
Strap in.
They call it the return for a reason. It's Cooper's return to himself.
Absolutely.
It's cool. It's just I'll talk about it later, but I think this is kind of like symbolic for trauma. Cooper goes through a trauma, and I think a lot of people, when you go through a trauma, you end up kind of dull to the world a little bit. Like we see him as Dougie Jones.
Yes.
But until we get to that, he gets sucked through what looks like an electrical outlet, except for his shoes.
Yeah, his shoes didn't go through, which was interesting.
And then we cut to Mr. C just swerving.
Yeah.
He flips his car, and he keeps showing the cigarette lighter,
which I think Cooper was supposed to come through that cigarette lighter.
Yeah, that might have been 15, or I think that's how the lodge wanted Mr. C to come back.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He looked really paranoid looking at it. I think electrical outlets are also ways or portals to like last ditch effort or whatever. They can pull you back in, but Mr. C has a card up his sleeve here, everybody. Mm-hmm. You see. A flux, we all of a sudden get magically whisked away to Nevada.
Well, before that, you got Mr. C is doing his best not to throw up. Before we get there, he is fighting violently not to throw up.
Yes, and he sees the red curtains of the lodge, so he's in a danger zone here, much like Kenny Loggins. But now we meet Dougie Jones, this schmucky, poor son of a bitch.
It's Cooper in a wig.
It's Cooper in a really weird wig.
A really weird wig and pillows stuffed in him to make him look fat.
He's with his lady of the night, Jade. Also, he's wearing the Jade Owl Cave ring.
Yes, and Jade is $1,000 prostitute.
Yep. Jade gives 2 rides, Paul. Jade gives 2 rides.
Yeah. Are you saying you need Jade to give 2 rides?
Yeah. So what happens here is his arm has gone dead. Last time we saw something like this is when last time Bob and when there's fuckery at the lodge.
Yep.
We saw in Twin Peaks people's arms go dead. It happened to Teresa Banks. She goes and showers, and Dougie's struggling.
Dougie's having a bad day.
Dougie's having a terrible day. And what happens is he ends up vomiting, which looks like creamed corn and cherry pie.
Yes, but it is pronounce that for me.
Garmonbozia.
Yes, thank you, and engine oil. And the black
Mr. C is the jet oil. His is the engine oil and creamed corn. Dougie has, because Mr. C vomits.
Yep.
Too. But when Dougie vomits, it's cherry pie.
Is it the cherry pie? See, I thought it was both. Like I took it as, I'm getting a little bit ahead, but I took it as when Bob made the doppelganger, he put this inside of him. Because this was, I figured, the way that they were going to find him, which is why he's struggling to vomit, because Doug needs to vomit before he does.
Garmonbozia is in there. It's just mixed with the cherry pie.
Cherry pie. Okay, got it. Okay.
It's a callback to Innocent Cooper.
Got it. Okay.
Where the engine oil is a callback to Bob, is how I read it. I could be wrong, but it's just like it looks like cherry pie with cream corn. Because then when Mr. C vomits shortly after this, it's jet black engine oil.
It is
And
jet
cream
black
corn.
engine oil. Yes.
And then blood.
And blood. Yeah.
Uh,
It's nasty.
and so all of a sudden, Dougie's he's in the Black Lodge.
Poor
Dougie's
Dougie.
had quite the day, man.
Yeah, Dougie's day is only going to get worse here in a few minutes. Yeah, Dougie sees Mike, and Mike is just glaring at that son of a bitch.
Yeah, he tells him he's. Then he lays this. He starts laying some truth bombs on him, which I don't think Dougie needed. I mean, he's not going to
No.
understand it. He tells him he's been manufactured for a purpose, and
And
now that
Dougie says, "I feel weird."
yeah, I feel weird. And then he shrinks, loses his weight. The ring falls off, and his head turns into a giant black fire,
Yep.
where a gold ball pops out of.
Yes, and his body kind of deflates into this egg, black thing.
Egg.
Yeah, which I think is kind of like the which is reminiscent of like the homunculus, like what he made the doppelganger out of.
Yeah, it also like it kind of like it splits, and it also kind of looks like the face of the baby from Eraserhead.
Eraserhead.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and then
Mike has to cover his face quick because I think that was also another purpose of it was to harm Mike.
Yeah, it was like a bomb or something he was trying
Mm-hmm.
to. We see Mr. C covers his tracks, but before we get, so that happens, and Mike takes there's nothing left but a gold ball,
Little
and
tiny gold ball.
Mm-hmm. And the jade ring, and he puts the jade ring back on the table we saw in Fire Walk with Me, where the arm was kind of offering it or showing it to Cooper, and then Mr. C just passes out, with a bunch of fucking vomit all over him. He's having a bad day.
Mr. C's having a bad day. And I have a theory on this as well. Like, we'll talk about that, I think, next episode. So then Cooper starts coming out of the socket.
You know, when I heard Twin Peaks was coming back, and I figured, Cooper had to get out of the lodge at some point, I was not picturing him being shot through an electrical outlet.
I think if you had taken bets on people, no one would have gotten that one. I don't think anyone would have made that guess.
Yeah, he's shot out, and he looks like the Cooper we know. He has a hole in his sock, which was kind of upsetting. I don't know why it upset me, but it did.
I think that was symbolism. Like, I think that was David Lynch throwing something like, something's not right here.
Jade comes out, and she's just like, "Wow, Dougie, what'd you do with your hair? I knew you were wearing a wig. Like, why would you wear it?"
Wig to the prostitute.
Too, he's lost like 30 pounds. He's wearing a jet black G-Man suit.
G-Man suit. It means nothing to fucking Jade. She's just not registering this.
Oh my god! And then. And now we see Cooper's not all there. That's kind of like the gist of what we're getting here is Cooper got out, but because of the doppelganger's fuckery with he was swapped out with what we'll find out is a tulpa.
Yep.
That it fucks up Cooper's return. Kind of puts him in a state of just like. It's like a shock. Like again,
yes.
it's like a trauma. He's going through like a shock, but he's also much like a toddler. He's just like we find out he's retaining all this information. He's trapped in the body. He can't
because he's not because Mr. C has Cooper's faculties.
Yes.
It's part of it. So the whole idea was that when he goes back into himself, he's supposed to be whole. But because the doppelganger was created this tulpa or another homunculus or doppelganger to throw Cooper into it, Cooper is not all himself, and he's been in the lodge for 25 years, and he needs to get back to his own mind and his own body.
and hence the return.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's Cooper's journey. It says it's David Lynch and Mark Frost's very bizarre hero's journey.
Very bizarre hero's journey. And, Jade is just, she's not noticing anything about him. Like, she doesn't give a fuck about Dougie,
This is a
really.
common thing with this, though. Like, nobody thinks there's anything wrong. Like, it really stands to how fucking weird Dougie was in real life. Because we'll
Right.
see. Nobody's fazed by his awkward behavior.
No. No, like everyone just thinks, what does she say later when she drops him off? I think you had a little stroke. You might want to get help. It's like, oh, okay, drop him off at the casino, bitch.
Yeah, and she said she's mad she has to drop him off because Cooper came out. This is Agent Cooper, not Dougie. He doesn't have Dougie's keys, but he does have a key to his room at the Great Northern from 25 years.
Yes, the 315. Yep. And now, yeah, she's pissed off. He doesn't have his wallet. He doesn't have anything. And so, but Jade's going to give him 2 rides.
Yep, he gives 2 rides.
Jade gives 2 rides. And as they're driving away, we see these guys that look like they're hired to kill Dougie.
Yep, we got some hired goons.
I wonder who could have hired these goons.
Mr. C is, again, he's not taking this was, he knew Dougie was going to go back.
Yep.
He knew Cooper was coming out. He didn't know what kind of Cooper was coming out, so he sends his hired goons. But Dougie, I made the reference that, later on Cooper, Marty McFly shit out, but this is when Cooper Forrest Gumps his way.
Forrest Gumps his way through the series.
Yes. The lodge is basically fucking things around just to keep him alive.
Yeah. There's a lot of lodge interference going on here.
Because again, Bob broke the rules, so it's they're doing what they can now to right the ship.
Yes.
Bob owes them their Garmonbosia.
Oh, and he owes them a lot. He owes them 25 years worth. So yeah, I mean, little coincidences start happening. They think that he's with Jade, which he is, and then he pulls out the key, and there's a bump, and so he has to bend down, and just happens to
miss a sniper.
Miss a sniper. So what they do is they put fucking a bomb on Dougie's car and go away. Then we cut to a little boy in the street with his we're assuming his drugged out mom.
Yeah. And this is she's just doing a bunch of pills, drinking, and screaming 119.
119. Now, I think the reference of that, there's a couple things. We find out later on that there is some drugs going around that Mr. C has been a part of, and it kind of fucks with people. It's like a weird cut lodge drug, and she's using this drug that we'll find out. So what I think's happening is that she's trying to call for help, but because people talk backwards in the lodge, it's coming out 119, 119, yep. And no one's understanding it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's either the drug to me or her proximity to lodge going-ons.
Yeah.
Especially with Cooper coming out, might have reverberated. We'll see it I believe it's either in the next episode or we have Mr. C casually, and it took some viewers double take, but they figured, he speaks backwards, and it's very subtle. It's very subtly done. It's very
subtly done.
It's lodge fuckery going on, and it's kind of cracking up the time.
Well, and we're going to find out that drug. We don't really get it. It's a minor storyline in this one, but that drug fucks people up really, really bad. And so I think this is more the drug at this point, that she was kind of like a guinea pig for it, considering the proximity where she was and where Mr. C was going to put Dougie essentially. So I think he got her, like she was almost like a guinea pig or like one of the first subjects for it.
Yeah.
Just a theory.
Yeah, I mean, the drug trade thing in this season is probably the least of my interest, but I don't know. It just didn't do it for me, but
Sure, absolutely.
I like your theory. But then, so we have Mr. C in his car. Some cops show up.
Oh, yes, they do.
And the smell in his car is so bad.
They can't open the door.
The first cop to the scene just can't stop gagging and vomiting. And I think we find out in the next episode he's hospitalized because it was such a bad experience.
Yeah, I think we find that out. Yeah, I think the waft of the pain and misery, pain and sorrow made him sick. Yes. God damn it! And they have to call for backup because of the smell.
This car has some bad BO, man.
Oh man, that's what happens when you leave White Castle on there in the hot sun for fucking 25 years.
Oh God. Whew.
So then we get to the sheriff's station, and this is a total fucking shit move by David Lynch, because now you think you're gonna get to regular Twin Peaks. Cooper's out. We're going back to Hawk, Lucy, and Andy.
Yep.
But everyone's different.
Yeah, everybody's different. Lynch likes to play it slow and stretch scenes out. Sometimes it works, and sometimes if you feel like the characters are like Dougie are suffering from a stroke, that's how I felt here with Lucy and Andy, because they seem abnormally just not with it. Like
yes.
Hawk is like, kind of on the ball. These two they look like they're acting like they've just been eating paint chips their whole lives.
Well, and I think it goes to show, like, they were never the smartest people, and now they're old. And this is, I think, Cooper's interpretation of old people that were never smart.
Yeah. But he stretches this out, and it does have some callbacks. They're going over all the evidence from the Laura Palmer case, looking for something that is missing. Andy's like, "There's nothing missing," which Hawk is like, "Well, if it's not here, then how do you know it's missing?"
Yes, if it's not here, then how do you know it's missing? And then Lucy freaks out because she sees the chocolate bunnies from the first episode.
Yeah. Found it was part of the evidence. Cooper even says in his little note to Diane, chocolate bunnies.
Yep. Diane, I'm holding in my hands a box of chocolate bunnies.
Yes. The chocolate bunnies make a return.
The chocolate bunnies return.
Sans one, because Lucy ate some evidence because she thought it would help her gas.
Which Andy asked if Indians use chocolate as a remedy. He doesn't say Native Americans, because remember he said it's something to do with your heritage. You're an Indian, right? Right, Hawk?
Yes, Andy.
Yes, Andy and Lucy. Yeah.
Hawk has the patience of a saint here.
He sure does. And then he's like, "It's not about the bunnies." And he's like, "Is it about the bunnies?"
He's like, no, it's not about the bunnies.
No, it's not about the bunnies. Which then we cut to Jacoby.
Yeah, this is another one of those, like, Lynch just fucking with you. Long, drawn-out scene of him just painting gold shovels.
Yes, he's got a thing set up, and he is painting shovels.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back, at least, like, with this longer-ish scene, it pays off because we know eventually down the road what he's doing. There's an egregious scene, but some people like later on. I don't. It's a guy sweeping for 5 minutes.
Yes.
I'll just fast forward to it because it doesn't add anything. It's just fuckery. I don't.
In the first.
I love Lynch, but I'll call it when I call it, and that's just fuckery.
Well, it's absolute fuckery, but again, I appreciate it in the first episode, because it made me really uncomfortable, because I didn't know what was happening and I didn't know what was coming. And then, yeah, I agree with you. Now that I know it doesn't really lead to anything, there's no point to sitting there for the 5 minutes.
No, not
But
at all.
that first episode, I was on the edge of my seat going, something's going to fucking happen. Oh, God. No.
But if from watching Lynch, a lot of times, whatever. It was fuckery. I'm moving on. At least it's not James singing. That comes later.
That comes later.
That's where I get flustered at the return. But hey, Paul, let's go to the Silver Mustang Casino.
Sure, let's. I know, that's logical.
Jade is just dropping Dougie off now. Just like get
the fuck out.
This guy's not normal. This guy needs help. She gives him $5.
It tells him to get a call for help and gets him out of the car. And then she's pissed he didn't close the car door.
Like there's and the first time we watched, it's like, what is going on with Cooper? This is not the Cooper we're used to. Cooper's confident. He knows what's going on. This is just a babbling fool. And again, he doesn't have all his facilities among him because Mr. C didn't go back.
Yes. So he just keeps repeating, call for help, because it's the last thing Jade said to him.
Yeah, so he ends up like, the main character in Vonnegut's Breakfast of Champions, it's like a Kalolai or whatever, where they just copy whatever's said to them back.
Yes.
So that all they do is repeat it. And it's just, he's got a severe case of that. Mm-hmm. He's watching the casino, and he's like, "Help! Call for help!" Trying to hand the security guard his $5. The security guard, like, probably thinking it's just a drunk. I mean, it's Vegas or whatever.
Get him in the casino. Make him spend that $5. And the funny thing is, he's having the hardest time getting through those revolving doors.
Yeah, he keeps like it buzzes, then he keeps bumping his butt so he'll walk forward.
Oh God, it's so funny.
That's so much because he just doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's like a newborn, but who can walk.
Yeah, he's absolutely a newborn on this. He didn't retain any of his memory because he's out of the lodge and he's in the real world, but he wasn't given any of his faculties back. Yep.
Oh, and so the security guard's like, "Oh wait, you need change." Take him to the change booth.
And lo and behold, who's working as a cashier? Meg fucking Foster, who I love.
Oh yeah.
She didn't age well, but she's also very elderly, so give her do what you want to do.
Oh, there's lots of cool cameos in this. So Cooper's wandering the casino.
Well, wait, did you catch her hand?
No, was she wearing the jade ring?
She was wearing the jade ring, and they made a very good point of pointing out that she was. Yeah, watch that. She when she hands him his money, and she moves her hand over his, so you see that she has the jade ring. Yep. Now she's in possession of the jade ring. I don't know what that signifies. She's just cameo, but she is in possession of the ring.
One of them, at least.
Yes, one of them.
Mike has one in the lodge.
Yep.
This kind of goes to our theory when we're doing Secret History. I think that we think there's more than one of these rings.
Absolutely.
It's just. Yeah. So Cooper's wandering the casinos, copying the mannerisms he's seeing around. He sees a guy put a coin in and then like wins and yells "Hello!" And all of a sudden we see this weird little lodge symbol.
Yep, it's the red room. It's depicting the floor and the curtains of the red room.
Yeah, with a little the Fire Walk With Me flame on top.
Yep.
It's so it guides them to like all the winning machines.
He keeps hitting mega jackpot after mega jackpot.
And every time he hits jackpot, he's like, "Hello!"
Yep. And fucking Josh McDermott walks up to him and says, "You broke it. You broke it good."
Yeah. And at that time, it was cool to see. He still had his mullet from Walking Dead.
Yes, he did. Yep.
So that was That was a nice. And then we get another cameo from one of Lynch's longtime associates, Sabrina Sutherland, is the lady who comes up and is like, "You have just won $20,000."
Yep.
She keeps losing them.
Because he keeps walking away. He keeps walking away. She went away to get a bigger bucket and tells the security guard to hang out there. He's already gone on another machine.
And then
he points this one to this old lady who gives him the finger.
Yeah, she doesn't want. It's her machine. Like anybody's ever been in casinos, there's some people who like are really superstitious and they'll commandeer like 3 machines right by them, even if they're only playing one.
Yep.
And she like gives him the finger when he's trying to walk toward it. But then she sees like every machine he's going to is winning, and then she wins a jackpot.
Yep, then she wins the jackpot. I like pictures of the casino people going, "What the fuck is going on?" Which we'll see later.
Yeah, if you're wondering if the casino's upset that they're losing all these jackpots in one 10-minute span, you'd be right. They are going to be pissed.
They are going to be pissed.
But hey, Paul.
Yes. Uh-huh.
We get Albert back. And Gordon Cole.
Yes, and we meet Tamara Preston from Secret History.
Yes, it's we go to FBI headquarters where they're going over a murder investigation, I believe a bizarre one.
Yeah, Congressman is accused of brutally murdering his wife, and he hid in his garden a series of clues that will point to them to the it feels very Blue Rose. Yeah. Right? Like here's a series of clues you're gonna
stock photos of women in bikinis, and then there's like this weird little kid in like a sailor outfit.
Yep. And then there's a machine gun, a jar of lentils, and a pair of pliers. And Cole's like, "Yep, you all get on that. Except you, Tammy. You stay here. You tell me what you found out in New York."
Yeah, he said before, he's like, "The real congressman's dilemma here."
The real congressman's dilemma here.
So she's investigating the box that we saw cut down those 2 kids in their prime. She has all the slides from the cameras, and she shows them the one with Judy, to which we get Cole just, "The hell?
What the hell?"
And this meeting's interrupted because Gordon Cole's informed that he has a call from Cooper. Somebody he has not spoken to in 2.5 decades.
Yep, and the 3 of them run in the Cole's office, and when I watched this for the first time, I just want to say.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say when I was watching this for the first time, I was like, "Yes!" And then they say where they're going, and I'm like, "No."
Yeah, we go into Cole's office where he has a giant photo of the first explosion at White Sands, the Trinity test.
Yeah,
that's a callback again. If you read Secret History going in, you're like, "Oh, that's a clue. That's a red herring."
Yep, and that's also foreshadowing.
Yes.
Foreshadowing later. Yep.
I'm still trying to figure out how we're gonna review that one.
I'm so excited to review that one, dude.
But Albert, we're heading to the Black Hills of South Dakota.
I'm like, son of a bitch. No, go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, it does the bait and switch. We were kind of hoping Cooper was discovered at the casino. No, it's South Dakota, and it doesn't take much to figure out the cops had gotten Mr. C while he was in South Dakota.
And Albert says one of the greatest lines, because it's Albert, "The absurd mystery of the strange forces of existence,"
which is it's a subtitle from Ronnie Rocket.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is a subtitle from Ronnie Rocket, and then he says he wants a truck full of Valium.
Oh God! Oh, and Albert should have had his own show. Damn it!
He should have
That's
had his own show. Oh my God, yes.
the Twin Peaks spinoff should have in the '90s should have been Albert.
Would have been so good. It
God,
would have been so fucking good. Yeah, I would, dude. Yes, I would. I will somehow find that dimension for the Alberts
yeah. Well, we
spin-off.
just willed it into existence, so it's out there.
Yes, it's out there.
And then yeah, so Ronnie Rocket also was Lynch is going to make be his follow up to Eraserhead. It's an unfilmable movie for the most part.
Just a little.
It's been in development hell since he came up with the idea. I don't think he'll ever get to it. He's alluding to it again. This feels like his swan song, so he's put everything in there. So like, and
yeah, and if you're interested in it, you can find the screenplay out there.
And if you read Room to Dream, they go into detail about Ronnie Rocket. Some of the plot, it's very strange. It's much in the vein of Eraserhead. But we're not here to review Ronnie Rocket. We're here.
No, we're not. We might someday, but
oh God.
maybe instead of doing episode 8, we should just do Ronnie Rocket.
Read the screenplay and try to explain to people what it is.
That instead of trying to explain episode 8. No, we won't do that. And then we know it's coming to the end because we're back at the Roadhouse and they got the cactus blossoms to come in.
Oh God! This was another much like Chromatics. I had not heard of cactus blossoms.
Yeah, neither had I.
And then this really turned me on to them. I really like them. They're really kind of like that '60s kind of like. Oh, what would be a good? It's like just American.
Yeah, it's Americana. It's a lot of tremolo. It somewhat reminds me of some of the notes they were hitting and some of the style they were playing. Chris Isaac, which I don't think was lost on David Lynch.
No, it's it's very like '60s like singer-songwriter duo type thing, harmonizing. Mm-hmm. It's really good stuff. And then this episode was dedicated to the memory of Don S. Davis and Miguel Ferrier.
Who
died right before I think this aired. The return came.
He died right before the return was aired. Yep. So yeah, there's a lot to kind of. I mean, we went over these things, but it's interesting. What was your take on Garland's head floating and saying Blue Rose, besides it just being a blatant Eraserhead reference?
Well, I mean, you're forcing my hand here because we didn't want to talk about the Buckhorn incident.
Okay, then let's not talk about the Buckhorn incident then.
Well, it's his decapitated head, man.
Yeah. Yes. It's decapitated.
He's still in the lodge. Like Mr. C was able to kill his physical body, but not his essence.
Yes, we're again, I think Cooper ending up there, seeing Garland ending up there. This is where people go when they get lost in those lodges. They just end up in non-existence and are part of the collective unconsciousness, I think.
Or are these hideaways, kind of like what we assume with, well, I mean, nobody will, if you watch, but like whatever, Carrie Page later on, I think there's pockets where they can hide.
Yes. And that
is outside the realm of the lodges.
Maybe, but I mean, do you think that, but when I look at it, do you think
because NATO's hiding in there for a reason?
NATO is hiding. NATO is hiding. I completely agree. And we kind of know why NATO is hiding. Yeah. But or at least we'll find out, down the road why NATO's hiding.
That's why I think it's areas where they can hide or be outside the realm or the influences of the White and the Black Lodge, and to an extent. I mean, this is how they shepherd Cooper out. They have to get him out this way because he can't go out the traditional way. Because the traditional way is upended because of Mr. C's fuckery.
It is upended because of Mr. C's fuckery. So then, my question to you then is, what do you think? Do you think that Jeffries and Chet Desmond were also shepherded to this area? Or do you think it was something separate?
I think they uh, we find out that these portals lead to different areas of this whatever this world is. I think
Hmm.
the world's bigger than just White Lodge, Black Lodge.
Absolutely.
So I think they probably passed. I think this is. We don't know where the six goes, so I don't know where uh, Chet
Desmond went.
Desmond went because that was the
Hmm.
portal I believe he went through.
Yes.
And this one it could be the Jeffries one. Yeah, I don't. I just think these are just. This episode explores the idea that there's more to the dualism of the white and black lodges. There's a whole world of this out there that we'll get.
Yes.
Like the woodsmen have their area of it, and to enter them, you have to be in specific parts of the world.
And I think you nailed on something that I believed as well. Is so for a long time, we know Lynch's love of duality, but I think as Lynch has gotten older, he's seeing that while there's duality, there's always this sublayer, and I think this is something he's on the what is it?
Transcendental meditation.
Thank you. And so there's these nuances and these flows and these ebbs between the two, and it's not always just black and white. There's this whole underground, almost like a ant hill or an ant farm underneath it. And I think this is what he's kind of showing here is that, yeah, you've been looking at the Black Lodge and the White Lodge, but you haven't been looking in between the Black Lodge and the White Lodge. And
Yeah,
that's where I'm taking you.
yeah, and that's almost on the nose because that's what happens. Cooper falls through the cracks in the Black Lodge to get here.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is just, I don't think it's, I kind of feel like it's Lynch hitting you over the head saying, fuckers, pay
Yeah,
attention.
yeah. There's more. There's more to the worlds than we can assume. Like so, they're not only expanding the real world of Twin Peaks and where these characters are, they're doing it also on like whatever the meta world or the cert.
Hmm.
The worlds in which the lodges exist and expanding it. And again, Cooper gets here because he literally fell through that crack in the chevrons.
Yep. And it's also matching that duality because now everything isn't set in Twin Peaks anymore. You got Buckhorn, you got Philadelphia, you got Las Vegas. It's there's on both sides now you're starting to see that there is more to this. He's pulling back the microscope and kind of getting us instead of this micro view, this more of a overall view of what this means and what this lore is.
Yeah, and it's really surreal. It's really awesome that they expanded this world because I
Hmm.
think for these two, for Frost and Lynch to return to Twin Peaks, I think this is the sort of thing that was the only way it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
They like the soap opera stuff that we're used to is just not. They don't give a shit anymore. Like they didn't
Yes.
even give a shit in the second season about it.
No, and it should be noted that this whole 18 episodes were written exclusively by Frost and Lynch and directed by Lynch.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and I feel like, I think honestly, without Frost's influence in it, I think you would have gotten something even more abstract out of Lynch.
yeah, yeah. And uh, again, I think is them also batting ideas off each other. I don't think the return would have been really different if it was just Lynch and somebody else like you did with Fire Walk with Me. I think Lynch and Frost, like when they're together, we really get something special, and
Hmm.
we did with especially with the return here. They I'm sure their egos or whatever. Like we'll probably never see them work together again. But
No, I don't think you would. But again, I think they even knew they had this magic and this needed to be done.
yeah, because they did this like took them 4 years to write this.
Yeah.
And at one point, none of it was ever going to take place in Twin Peaks.
Right.
One
Yep.
draft of this was like nothing was in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, and I think that I could be wrong, but I think that's more Frost's influence of getting it back to Twin Peaks. Because I think Cooper could have felt like fuck it. That was all. Twin Peaks was one thing. I'm trying to tell a story beyond Twin Peaks, and I think he would have done it that way.
Yeah, I think they're both wanting to get beyond Twin Peaks. Honestly, I think
Sure.
it's just so limiting. I mean, I guess I don't know who wrote what.
Yeah, we won't
We
know.
we won't know, but I'm glad that they spent 4 years and wrote out. I don't imagine seeing the script.
Could you imagine writing this script, Joe? Could you imagine
And
trying
then
to
have the
write this?
balls to go to like networks and be like, "We want this made."
Yeah, that's insanity, dude. That's
Where's the
fucking
damn fine
insanity.
coffee? We don't want that anymore.
No, I'll give you thrown up cherry pie. How do you like that, you prick?
Yeah, cubed up cream corn.
Oh my God. Yeah. It
Do we get
is.
Cooper? No.
Well, I'll give you Cooper. I'll give you Cooper.
We'll give you a Cooper.
I'll give you a Cooper. Oh my God. So funny.
Thank
Um,
God Showtime gave like let them do it, man.
I yeah. Well, it almost didn't happen too because Lynch wanted a lot more money.
Yeah, well, it went from a nine. This was really going to be 9 episodes,
Yes.
and the script was so massive, and the ideas they had were so massive that they needed to increase the episode run. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so like when that happened, like the budget increased, and the guy who was in charge of Showtime was overseas. He didn't know any of this was happening until he started reading in the press. Apparently, one of the underlings were like, "Well, we can't approve a larger budget." We didn't know. Everybody thought it was like, "Oh, Lynch wants more money." No, he wanted it because they're going to make instead of 9 episodes, it's going to be 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
and I believe the Showtime guy said, if you want to make fucking 20, you want to make 29 of these episodes, go for it.
yeah, but like he didn't know what was going on. And then, of course, once it leaks in the media, because Lynch went on Twitter and said, "I'm not doing it,"
Yep, and
and
everyone
everybody
walked.
freaks out.
Everyone walked.
Everybody walks. And then it took like months. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to remember, this is like Lynch walked away, and everybody walks away. Uh, they have to renegotiate everything because the episode runs are going up. So that means you have to reevaluate the costs and the production crew and all that. I mean this isn't like turnaround overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking a project and expanding it like that. You have contracts to sign and all that. So it took a while. And
Yep.
I kind of understand Showtime's stance on this. Like, well, we don't want to say it's all good and done and then be like, well, Kyle MacLachlan's not available for half of this. Or,
Exactly.
so and so is not available for this. We can't, the lighting crew is not available. It's just
Right.
so much
Little
going
did
on.
we know Kyle MacLachlan was going to play 4 fucking characters in this thing.
Oh, shit. He gets 4 roles and Michael Anderson got 0.
Zero. And the guy that did the voice work for him is uncredited.
Oh, I have a feeling it's probably Lynch.
I have a feeling too. No, and I think that's crazy. I mean, this really also speaks to me. Kyle MacLachlan is so underrated as an actor.
Yeah. He is. It's unfortunate because he just made some bad choices after Twin Peaks that just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he had the looks, he had the ability, he had the star power to be an A-list leading actor.
And then he did the Flintstones.
And then he did the Flintstones and Showgirls, which I don't blame him for Showgirls. What everyone was sold on Showgirls was not what they got on screen.
Yeah,
And
and plus
everyone,
it's got its cult status. It's much more respected now.
it
So,
is. It
I haven't
is.
watched it probably since it came out. When I was probably at an age, I was way too young to watch it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, you and me
it's
both.
good
You
to
and me
have like
both.
friends of parents who didn't care what the hell they rented.
Yep, yep. Agreed. Agreed. My parents were one of those. They didn't really pay attention to what I was renting.
But Showgirls is directed by Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy. Total Recall, fucking all sorts of
Total,
RoboCop.
RoboCop. Yeah, I was gonna say RoboCop. Yeah, but then after that, after Showgirls, his career dropped too.
Yeah.
It was really, really unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, seeing him even the short time where he plays Dougie, you believe he's a completely different character.
Yeah.
You
He just looks like a used car salesman.
Mhm. But I mean, the juxtaposition between Dougie Jones and Mr. C
Oh yeah.
is, that's demanding of an actor.
Yeah. And it's amazing he was able to pull it off. It does show he has the chops to do it.
Yeah.
And it shows that a bubblegum tree can be just as effective as Michael J. Anderson, which really tells you about his acting abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I thought was interesting though with this one, and just as we're getting to the end of this episode, was I was taken back by the first of all the nudity in part one, and then Jade being full nude in part three. That kind of threw me off because that totally. I mean, I get Twin Peaks. The original was in a network, but I feel like Lynch did it because he just could do it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Why not?
He's like, we're on Showtime. Show us some tits.
Show us your bush.
Show us your bush. Get some boobies in there. Get a close up.
I'm sure he took advantage of it. I mean, Lynch is no stranger to adult material like that.
No. Oh, no, he's not, sir.
I mean, have you seen Mulholland Drive?
Exactly. And I was also thought about this where Kyle MacLachlan's playing four characters. It says a lot that he was up to the snuff to do it, because I do think that was part of his original intention with Lost Highway, showing that duality. But I don't think the actors involved. That's why it switched between Bill Pullman and Balthazar Getty, because he needed that juxtaposition. I don't think either one of them could do both.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. That's just a theory of mine.
I agree. It's just pulled off more successfully here when you have the same actor, because it kind of makes the point a little more.
A little more. I mean, again, you look at the horrible things, and we're going to look at the horrible things that Mr. C fucking does. And then you go back to Dougie with a tie around his head.
Yeah. And I'm excited to talk about Mr. C's arm wrestling over the top moment.
Oh my God, yes.
When I turn my head backwards, I'm more like a machine. Just wanted him to recite that line.
Oh my God, that would have been brilliant. And yeah, then that's and Fuckeray's involved in that big time too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
But we'll get some of that. Next week's episode is going to be an interesting one. We get kind of a reunion with Cole and what they assume is Cooper.
Yep, and Albert, and someone we haven't seen before.
Yes.
So that will be really interesting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that little part that you mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't catch it the first time either.
I'll be blunt. I didn't either, but I know the way it was said didn't register with me, and I was like, wait, what? But I was like, okay, whatever. It was just me not getting it.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was just. I thought it was maybe a mistake or whatever. I don't know. I was just.
Yep.
Yeah, I was so involved with everything going on that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. Paul,
yes.
What do you have coming up for Cast That Movie?
So as this episode's going up today, the Cast That Movie will be the King of Kong Dream Project with the John Carter recasting, the 2012 Disney bomb that was John Carter. What do you guys have going on with the Joe Down?
Well, we're in sports month this week. I have a posted yet. It'll be posted this week. We did Mr. Baseball, Tom Selleck.
Oh God, you
God.
didn't. That's such a shit movie.
Oh, it's the most forgettable baseball movie I've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
really
Well, it's
nothing
up there
stands
with
out,
Major
but
League 3.
it's worse than that. At least in terms of like being memorable, it's so vanilla. Just blah. But then after that, we got Bull Durham.
Oh, okay.
One
I
of
actually
Kevin Costner's 500 baseball movies.
I actually like Bull Durham, so I'm interested to see what your take on that is. But I think I only like that because of Susan Sarandon.
Oh, a hot take. I do not like Susan Sarandon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I just something about her. I've just never registered with me.
Oh, I
Don't know
loved
why.
her.
Don't know why. Just one of those things.
Yeah,
I
but
get the appeal. It's just for me. It's like it just doesn't do anything for me. But I'm a
absolutely.
weirdo, man. I watch
No.
Mr. Baseball. What do I know?
Well, I mean, I mean, the appeal. Yeah, I understand you get the appeal. I mean, the appeal was enough for Christopher Guest. So, what do you do?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Susan Sarandon. That's me. But yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. I'm interested to see what your take on it's going to be because I feel like um, I feel like it's in your warehouse.
Yeah. Well, I remember I saw it when I was real little. I just sports movies are just not. I'll watch the hell out of sports documentaries, even though I don't like watching sports.
Hmm.
I'm just weirdo like that, like those 30 for 30s. Like I can just plop down and watch the hell out of those. Sports movies, I'm just like, all right. It's a struggle.
Yeah, I get it. I get it totally. It is difficult. Um,
But we also have
and
another podcast this week.
yes, we do. We got the
Bears, Beats, and Bobbleheads.
Talking Office.
Talking Office. What's the episode coming out this week?
I think it's episode 4, the
Episode.
Alliance.
Oh, the Alliance.
The Alliance. The Alliance. Oh my God.
I love getting your reactions on that. It's
Yeah. Yeah. So again, if you guys don't know, so what it is we are going through with the Jode or Scott from Cast That Movie, along with Joe and myself. Scott is a super, super fan of The Office and has watched it numerous times. Joe is a fairly good fan of it. He really enjoys it. And I have never fucking seen it, a full episode of it. So what it is it's me watching it for the first time, and these two are going to be talking more about it and kind of things like that, and they're getting my reaction 10 years later, essentially, of what I think about the episodes.
yeah. And so far, you seem to be enjoying it. The pilot was a rough one to get.
Pilot was well, and again, if you haven't listened to it yet, I'll tell you right now the reason why is because it was such a blatant ripoff of the UK one that it, unlike Shameless, which took a lot from the UK version over here, it worked. I think it's because it was on, a premium channel. I don't think you could do The Office appropriately on network. The UK one on
Not the Gervais version. Yeah.
yeah, no. And so no, but after that, I really beginning to like it. And from you guys have told me, this is not the strongest season of the show either. So I'm really looking forward to getting into some of the more well respected seasons.
Well, we did Diversity Day, which hands down is one of the funniest things.
Oh God, that episode still makes me laugh about a lot of things.
When Chris Rock can do a routine, and everybody says he's great and brave, but I do it, everybody says I can't, and I get trouble from HR. Is it because I'm white? Yeah, Michael. It's because
Yeah, Michael, it's because you're white. Oh my God. And then he starts screaming at what's her name when she comes in after having to go out for a meeting.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Yeah, when he's trying to stir the melting pot and she rightfully slaps him in the face. Oh my God. And then have him say the balls of, well, now she knows how it feels to be a minority. Oh my
Oh, poor Kelly Kapoor.
Oh,
Just
Kelly.
walked in at the wrong moment.
Oh, so difficult. Yeah. So yeah, you should be listening. Oh, I have news for you as well.
News.
Yeah, so we have been on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. Over the next couple of days, we are going to be added to Google Podcasts as well.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to be, yep. So this podcast will be on Google Podcasts, and Cast That Movie will be on Google Podcasts. So I have to work with Scott because Scott handles the Beats, Bears, Beats, and Bobbleheads. So I'm going to try and get him to get that on Google as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So other than that, what else? You got anything else going on, bud?
Nope, that's it. Yeah, I think, yeah, this is it. I guess unless you have anything else to add.
I don't at this time, no.
Well then, Paul, just remember, Jade gives 2 rides.